Welcome everybody to another hour's therapy session for Tottenham fans. It's bleak, gentlemen. It is bleak. Alan, just before we came on the show, you was about to go in hiding, but I'm glad that you've shown your face for everyone to see. How are you, mate?
It was a joke. I'm good. But yourself?
If it weren't my daughter's birthday yesterday, I'll be at. I think I would have been at the end of a bottle of vodka throughout the night and day. So I'm happy with one thing, Alan. At the minute.
It was a good start to the week with the win against Leeds, and then Thursday night happened, which we'll get into. But yeah, fun times.
What's a Friday show without so much to talk about, eh?
Exactly,
mate. Yeah.
Jacob, how are you, mate? How's your week been?
Yeah, I'm right, to be fair, man. Like, Tottenham have actually given me inspiration. I just look at the way that they got beat by Mura, and it makes me believe I can be a professional footballer. So, you know what I mean? It's just like, take the positives with it. I think to myself, well, you know, that I'm not going to give up now.
No, I can't blame you. Go for it. Now, like I said, after last night, go for it. I mean, we've also got Mark, the most positive man I think any of us have met, especially through YouTube. But I think we're going to see a different side to you tonight, Mark.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything I could be positive about last night. The only positive I can take are those loyal 187 fans that went. My goodness me. And they couldn't just fly direct. They had to go through Austria, which has been locked down. So kudos to those 187. I thought that was fantastic. But yeah,
definitely.
My wife painted some walls yesterday, and after the game, I sat and watched them for a bit, and that was more exciting. Watching a wall dry was so more exciting. So yeah, lots to talk about, I'm sure, especially after Sunday, where second half you thought there's a little bit of positivity there, and yeah, some great words by Conte though last night. You know, really, if you read between the lines, I think you know, this is a guy we can't mess around with, because if we do, he's gone.
Yeah.
So yeah,
definitely. I mean, Alan, we'll start with obviously the Leeds win. I think it was yourself and Jacob getting 3 points in the prediction challenge for the correct score. So Jacob is on quite a bit of a roll with some of them uneven counted. He's not doing bad at the minute. Jacob's not.
Told you boys, didn't I?
Yeah, it might be worth following. I might get him to go first this week. See what he's saying about the.
Yeah, I think so. I think
he's only a point ahead of me, isn't he? He's only a point ahead.
Alan's not far off, man. I'm keeping an eye out on Alan.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there might be some tampering with the points at some point in the season. I can't promise anything. But Alan, the victory against Leeds, coming from behind to get the 2-1 win. How did you feel after that game?
So the first half was awful. No passion, no desire to run. It was slow, lethargic. Leeds, with a very poor team, let's be honest, decided to run rings around us for the first half. And then Conte got stuck into my half-time, and it's a completely different team. Full of energy. It was like watching a Poch team on the front foot, pressing, high intensity, running. Like, it's the first time I think we've outrun a team in a couple of years as well. So it was massive improvement, loads of positives. I thought it was a good game overall. Still, again, Harry Kane didn't show up in the league. Not happy with that. But it was good seeing Reguilon get a goal for Spurs finally. He's been there. He hasn't scored for us yet, has he? I don't think so. No. And that was good to see him get a first goal. And Højbjerg, I wasn't expecting that. It was a bit of a skewer finish, but we'll take it. Kirst will love that because Højbjerg scored. But yeah, chalk and cheese in that game. But I think that now we've done it in the league with the first team, Conte's basically Conte would have said to him afterwards, that's the standard I want from you. Every game without foul. And if they don't, he's not going to be afraid to drop people wherever go, because that's the type of manager he is. So I think if he can get at them and have a go at them on a regular basis, we might get good, consistent performances in the league. We'll come to Thursday later.
Yeah, I mean, Jacob, we are going to discuss Thursday in quite a bit of length on this show today, but is that something Conte is going to have to do now with these players? He did it at half-time against Leeds. He's going to have to bring them back to life for the weekend game. that's not the start you want as a manager, is it? Constantly having to remind your players, especially a player like Harry Kane, just how good you are on your day.
Yeah, it's true. But I think with was it me or Mark you speaking to?
You, Jacob. Well, I've got a different question for Mark.
I was speaking on. I thought we were confused. Yeah, I just think Conte's the manager that would do that anyway. Like, you know, there could be a team that's winning 3-0 and he still comes across like he's shouting the odds. But I don't know, man. It's just like you look at some of the players, like he's doing that. And he doesn't feel like he's doing that just to give him a little nudge. He's doing it to basically baby them through games, you know. It's like when you look at that Leeds lineup, I looked at the lineup and I was confident, but then, you know, when they were doing the little previews and they were talking about, oh, the youngster up front, Gerrard, it was his first Premier League start. I was just like, right, he's playing against Tottenham. I bet he has a good game. And, you know, in the first half, he had our defence on toes. So it's one of them ones, like I said in the group, it felt like even though we were getting rinsed, it just felt like we were going to win it and it was going to paper over the cracks. It just felt like it. And don't get twisted, I was well happy with the result, because I felt that it would be something to build on. But then, well, we're going to talk about Thursday, but then after that, it's just like built on nothing. You know what I mean? It's just, I think the thing is, though, like we all knew that Conte is going to be hard for him, and we knew he's going to need the money. But it feels like even if Daniel Levy gave him 200 million, I'm scratching my head thinking, will that be enough? Because, you know, 200 million is 3 or 4 world-class players. And it's like, you can have all those along with Harry Kane and Son, but it's like, you've got some players there that you just need to get rid of. That, you know, it's just, even in that Leeds game, the first half, there's a lot of players I looked at and thought, you're not really worthy of the shirt. I'm not saying we're Man United or Man City or Liverpool, but it's just, you just don't need to be here, mate.
Yeah, we've got a lot of players like that at the minute, Jacob. I mean, Mark, a player who's going under the radar at the minute for bad form, I think that's due to Kane's form, his Son. How do you look at him at the minute? What do you think is missing for Son's game?
Well, I think if you look at them this season compared to last season, it's like chalk and cheese. It looks like they've never played together. It looks like they can't play together. But just going back on what you guys were saying there about last night, you know, 9 players. We only had 2 players that started on Sunday. So there was 9 new players that had an opportunity to say, you know what, Conte, let me show you what I can actually do. Let me show you why I signed for Spurs originally. Let me show you why Dele Alli, I was touted as being one of the best midfielders ever to wear an England shirt. And you know what? Not one of them thought, do you know what? Let me show you. And if that's the best they can do, then yeah, we've got big trouble. We have, and I think Jacob's right. 200 million doesn't even cover that. But going back to Son, yeah, and do you know what? I've got to say, looking on Twitter and all that, he's not getting a lot of pelters, Son isn't. You know, Harry Kane's getting ribbed, which he should be, because he's awful. And yeah, he scored a goal last night, but I thought he was pretty poor last night. He lost the ball. He gave the ball. Everybody gave the ball away. Look, the pitch was awful. I've got to say. I don't know. I saw the pitch. Maybe it's my TV, but the pitch, because I've got a curved screen, so maybe it's my but the pitch seemed like that. And I know the pitch is the same for them, but they've most probably played on that pitch before at other times, so they're a little bit used to it. But I'm not going to give that as an excuse. But yeah, Sonny, ever since he signed that 4-year deal or 6-year deal with us, he's not really performed, has he? So I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a psychological thing. And him and Kane just don't look on par. And then Lucas Moura last night again, a lot of running around. But his first touch was absolutely abysmal. Did you see the Doherty one where he tried to kick the ball, where he fell over himself? How funny was that, though? Jeez. And this is a guy...
It's painful, Mark. It's not funny. It's painful.
What is he on? He's on 60 grand a week, maybe?
Yeah.
You know, there's non-league players. There's non-league players that work part-time and get maybe 150 quid. that could do better than that. Do you know what I mean? And I know we'll say we could do better, but I'm talking about non-league players that would tear your right arm off just to get an opportunity. And then he goes and does that. You know, what must Conte be sitting there? I'd love to be a fly on the wall. This is the season I would like Anderson documentary, you know. But yeah, going back to Son, I think he needs to be getting pelters as well. He needs to get his head out of his ass and start playing for that money now that he signed this 5 or 6 year deal, whatever he's done. Him and Harry need to start having a chat and say, listen, because with the three of them up there, you know, Sonny, Kane, and Lucas Moura, they should have torn a new arsehole into that Moura's defense, shouldn't they? To be fair, you know, there shouldn't even be a question on that. You know, I know we only had 10 men, but the second half, when you look at the players we had on there, you know, we should have beat them even if we had 8 men on. You know, but no, we couldn't. So yeah.
It's no coincidence that Harry Kane comes into the team after missing the start of the season and Son goes to pot. I think it's having a knock-on effect. I really do. Not giving Son any leeway because he needs to pick himself up and perform better. But I just think it's a bit of a coincidence.
Well, I was going to ask you that, Alan. Obviously, after all the summer shenanigans with Kane and whatnot, and Son obviously showed loyalty to the club, signed his new deal. Started off well. Obviously, I think he got 4 goals in 4 games for us at the start of the season, including the goal against City, the first game. But I think for the first time against Leeds at the weekend, I've seen Son make a couple of runs in behind the defence and not get the pass off Kane, and you could see him out of shot, really frustrated, throwing his arms in the air. Last season, you would have seen that. You would have seen a thumbs up. You would have seen an unlucky error. We'll go then. Do you think there's a bit of a issue between them two at the minute?
Yeah, I do.
I don't think it's a like a problem between two, like a direct problem. I think what it is that Harry Kane is massively out of form. I still think he doesn't want to be there and he's not really concerned. And what it is that he's now like I don't know if he's now trying to prove himself under Conte, but it looks like he's trying too much. He's taken on ridiculous amount of touches or trying to get shots off, and it's come at a cost where there's a pass on and he isn't passing it. But then the same with Son as well. I think Son's getting frustrated back because there was times where Son could have laid it into Harry Kane and it didn't happen. Also, with the new system, there was times where Reggie and Royal made the overlapping run where a ball down the side, you know, inside the channel, and they were away for like getting it behind to put a ball in. But we didn't pass them either. I think some of it's to do with this new system and getting used to. But between Harry Kane and Son, it's not as fluid as it was. And I think maybe with what happened, some of it's got knock-on effects of it because, let's be honest, still in the Premier League, Harry Kane, wow, you know, he's got 1 goal in the league, which isn't good enough. He's not performing. He got a goal Thursday, but he's getting goals where it doesn't matter for me. He needs to get it in the Premier League. So I think it is, I think... You know, when he scored against Newcastle, they went over to him and made a big deal of it. I think they overdone that. I think it was trying to say we're all one. I think they overdone that. So I think there's still problems there.
Oh God, yeah, they treated that goal like it was his first career goal. It's something
too much. It was too much.
Yeah, I think once he'd scored that, obviously, I think that was a goal for 2-1, wasn't it? It put us in the lead.
Yeah.
But even then, it's a simple, well done, Harry. It's about the time you've shown up. Don't mob him like that. Like I say, that it seemed like that was his first career goal. But Jacob, you said before Alan started that you do think there's a bit of a problem between Son and Kane. What do you think's up with them?
I just think that when Harry Kane, the way he applied himself, I think Son actually loves playing for Tottenham. So it's like, I remember there was little things on Instagram where like there was fans cussing out Harry Kane and you know, Son was liking him. So it's like that happened and Harry Kane stayed, and then all of a sudden there must be a psychological problem between the two of them. And to be fair, if Harry Kane wants to leave and Son wants to be the main man, and then you're getting in the way and you don't even want to do it, you can see why there's a rift. But I don't even think, you know, I think even if there was a rift, if you've got if the team's playing well, those things don't matter. You know, like when Fergie had Sheringham and Andy Cole, them two admit now they absolutely hated each other. But Fergie would chuck them both up front. They'd score 2 goals each, beat someone 4-0, and that'd be the end of the story because they had a sick team where you had no excuse but to perform. But with them two, it's like, if them two have got a problem, who's going to be behind them, at least applying themselves properly to try and win games? Doesn't matter what club you play for. It gets to the point where we've got a lot of players that don't even want to apply themselves to win. Like, you're just looking at, there's players that just don't even look like they want to win the game. Like, just at least put some reputation on your own name. So like Lo Celso, you know, you're smashing it for Argentina. Why don't you turn up in the game and just play for yourself? Because if you play for yourself, the Spurs fans will recognise that. It's the same with everybody else. But then, like, when you've got our best player in Harry Kane not doing that, why is anyone else going to do it? It's just, in my mind, it's more of a mess than what anybody else makes it out to be.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot. I think there's a lot going on behind the scenes that we will never have a clue about, to be honest. But Mark, I'll talk to you about another Harry who got his start against Leeds due to skip suspension. Harry Winks. I mean, I personally thought he had a shocking game. I do. I think he had a shock. There's not anything he does in a game that you can just look at and think, oh God, you know, that was brilliant. That was a brilliant pass. That was a great tackle. Just anything like that. How do you think he played, Mark, against Leeds?
I thought first half he was his normal crappy self, sideways, backwards. Second half, I think obviously Conte's must have had a word with him because he actually got up the field a bit and the ball started to go up front. I won't say he was a Christian Eriksen because he's way off that, but I think he played like the team played better and the shape looked better second half than first half. But first half, how he makes our team, I don't know. But then saying that when you looked at Tanguy last night, that's why he made the side, because I don't think Conte's got faith in Tanguy. And after last night's performance, I don't blame him. You know, you can't have 4 managers not playing the guy, and the same as Winks. So something's wrong. Something's not right. So yeah, I think he had a poor first half, like I think the whole first team did, because they kept on going sideways and backwards. And you know what Leeds are like. They press, they come out, they run, they energetic, and you could see in the second half they obviously got a lot more tired, didn't they? You know, so around about the 70th minute, you know, gaps started to open, spaces opened up. And I think Conte, like I say, I'd love to be a fly on the wall. Because I don't think Conte minces his words. And Winky must have done quite well, you know, when he spoke to him. So, I think he did much better in the second half, but still he's not a first team player for me. So, you know, I don't see him being part of our squad going forward. You know, I see him one of the not rebels, but one of the guys that will be sold in January.
Yeah, I mean, Alan, there's another player I want to ask you about, someone that's been slated a lot, but I think he had actually probably had his best game in quite a while, one against Leeds, Eric Dyer at the back. He actually, I don't know what you're laughing for, Alan. You clearly feel different.
No, I think he had a decent performance, but you know, it's not, you know, a world class, you know, performance.
No, it's not. But compared to usual performances, you expect a mistake from him. We actually saw him coming out with the ball, and actually he actually seemed a bit of a leader in that back line with Romero missing.
I wouldn't say a leader. Yeah, he brought the ball out and all that, but you know, compared to usual standards, he can't really go wrong. You know, that's how bad he stands at half time. You can't really, you know, a moderately average performance from him looks, you know, significantly better than what he's given to us. I'm not saying he has odd performances where he looks really good and he looks a lot better, but then it's backed up by about 4 or 5 terrible performances. And the areas of concern of him, like in defence, is not his ball carrying skills. Is that when they get him behind and players pull cutbacks, he's out of position, he's static, he doesn't move to the ball, and that's where his problem lies for me in defending. And when you see the best defenders in the world, when people getting behind, those defenders make themselves big, they cover ground, and they basically cut off the avenue of passes for the cutback and block. But they're not blocking outside of the goal; they're inside the goal map to block shots. The amount of times I've watched a game and you can see it on replay. Dyer, when the ball gets cut back to a striker, they're having a shot and he's marking outside the post. He's all out of position. So that's for me is where he needs to work on. Other things like when crossing in, he can head the ball away and he can clear the ball. It's not that. It's when they get him behind, he goes. I don't know. He has like him and Sanchez last season. The times the ball went over their head and they were just static, watching the ball go behind them, and then they reacted slowly. That's where he needs to work on. Carrying the ball, which we saw in central defensive midfield when he was in CDM role, he can do, and he can pick a pass. But if he's going to be centre back, he needs to work on other areas that he's not working on. He's not progressing in. That's the worry.
I'm just playing devil's advocate here, Alan. I just didn't need that attitude from you right there.
It's an honest opinion. It's an honest opinion.
Yeah. Jem in the comments.
Jem, boy.
Jem, we've got Kirst, who hopefully, fingers crossed, will make an appearance. She's just on Alan Watch right now, so we'll see what she can get from that.
Jem knows how good Eric Dyer is. He's not that good.
Well, that's why he's been known as Eric Diarrhea for so long, or Eric Diabolical. He's got plenty of nicknames. But I'm going to ask you, Jacob, about another defender for Leeds' goal. Has Emerson still got a lot to learn playing in this Premier League? Do you put him at fault for the Leeds goal, obviously being turned that easy, and Harrison shrugging him off him like he weren't even there?
Yeah, I do blame him, but it's one of them ones, like, I don't know, I've been watching Emerson. I'm not saying he's the answer, but he's progressed okay. You know, he's moved from a different country, and it's just like, you know, he had Zaha first of all. I'm not saying he's the answer, but he's done all right considering we've got Matt Doherty and we've had Aurier before. I just think I do get a little bit of confidence he'll learn. At the same time, because we've got Conte, I don't believe Conte will see him as the future at right back. You know, he might be a squad player and be a second man, but I don't know. It's one of the ones you're definitely at fault with that Leeds game. That I looked at that and thought that's just too easy. But then for the rest of the game, he did okay. But then when I say okay, I look at the performance of the whole team and think, like, you'll be lucky to get okay, because even though we won 2-1, I was jumping around because we just won the game. But it's probably out of pure frustration because it was a crap performance. We didn't do well at all, and in my mind, I just wanted to win because there was, you know, West Ham, Arsenal, United that all dropped points, and I'm thinking, I don't think we're good enough to get top four. But then if you can nick results when your rivals are, you know, dropping them, then that might be the only way we're going to get there. Because if it's based on talent and what we've got right now, no chance.
No, yeah. I mean, Mark, I'll ask you now about the other fullback, Reguilon, like Alan spoke about earlier. He got his first Tottenham goal. He's looked a lot more lively in attack now as we move to wing back. Is that his perfect position for us?
Yeah, I always thought when he came on, he doesn't look like a stocky, like kind of who's going to defend for his life, does he? He reminds me more of somebody running up the wing and putting in crosses. Yeah, I'm glad he got his goal. You know, he's missed a few, hasn't he, over the last year or so? Some good chances. No, I'm glad he got his goal. Right place, right time, or right time, right place, whatever you want to say. I still think he needs to bulk up a bit. I think he needs to defend a little bit better. I think it's going to be interesting now. I know Sessegnon got... you're right there, Jacob.
Home demolition is what he's doing.
Yeah. It's not working. So I think it's going to be interesting now that Sessegnon comes back in the fold. And I know he got sent off last night, but it'll be interesting because I think Conte kind of likes him. I think Conte's seen enough of him, like when he played in Germany and all places like that. So it'll be interesting to see what happens between the two of them. But it's good for competition from that point of view. But talking about Emerson Royale, I like him. I like him, and I know they say he's had a bit of a tough time, but I like him. I think if he can get his crossing boots on and all that, I think he's quick. He's no Kyle Walker yet, but let him build into the Premier League. And what's he, a Brazilian international? You know, you don't play for Brazil, and look, you play for Argentina, and you come back and you shit. Like Lascelles. So I've got to watch what I say. You know, you don't play for Brazil and you shit, because that will come and haunt me. But you guys know what I mean. In the good old days, oh, maybe not because you're not old enough, but in the good old days, if you played for Brazil, that meant you were like in the top 10 in your position.
I don't think that's the same nowadays. Don't think.
No, you're right. But like I say, and that's why I say in the good old days. So I want to give Emerson Royal time. I think he can turn into a decent. He's no Kyle Walker yet, but I think he's a lot better than Doherty. So I think I'd like to give him. But can I just say something on Dyer? I think this season he's been a hell of a lot better than he was last season. I haven't seen him make as many. Did you see Sanchez yesterday?
No, don't get me started on Sanchez.
Hold on. Somebody said the other day, Sanchez, he came on in the second half, didn't he, for Leeds? And he looked the better because didn't Tanganga go off? And he looked assured and he looked this and he looked that and everything. And then last night, what happened? It came back to bite him on the arse twice. So, I think Dyer looks a lot better this season than he did last season. And I said last week in the comments, my biggest fear we have now is that Ramiro's injury is a lot worse than what they were saying. And from what I hear now, he's out till January. And Ramiro in our defense last night with Dyer, we don't lose that game. Me just being honest, I think with Ramiro in our defense, we look a lot more solid, and I think Dyer looks a lot more assured. So, but getting back onto Reguilon, glad he scored his goal, but I think he needs to bulk up because I don't think he's the best left back in the league.
Sanchez, getting turned that easy. It's like he rolled out a red carpet. Like front of house of restaurant where they'd say, "Oh, and you can sit there, book two," and they walk you to the table. It's like he walked him inside to have a shot. Absolutely shocking defending. He needs to go as well. We've got so much deadwood to get out of this team. It's unreal.
Oh, it's embarrassing. Yeah.
After that wonderful segue from you, gentlemen, as always, like I always say, the best YouTube panel a man could ask for in Mark and Jacob. Of course, Alan's just there for the ride, but I'll go to you first. Hey, you will be censored. There's no need for that, Alan. I would have talked about last night, Alan, because oh my god, there is not a week at the minute that seems like there's a big talking point around Tottenham. And last night's defeat, you go into the game, you look at the team, you think, that's all right. Conte he just wants to get this done now. So the last game against Rennes, he can literally put out all the kids could get a game time. But the players that you look at last night, you've just mentioned Sanchez, we've mentioned Doherty, and Dombele. Don't leave. The only good thing I won't even say good thing. The only thing Dele Alli's done this season is colour his hair. Got rainbow flicks in his hair now. That's the only thing he's done this season.
Yeah, he's contributed to his own downfall because let's get it right. The first 2 seasons he was with us, everyone was hyping him as the next big England star. The next big thing. Amazing player, and I believe he's believed his own hype, and he's just basically let it run away with him because he's not even 10% of the player he was. He doesn't put in effort. All he worries about is a trick. He's out of position. He's not giving the effort. You have so many new managers come in and they'll go, I want to see effort from you to be in my plans. And it's not worked for him in 4 managers. He's just got to go. We've just got to get rid of him. We only bought him for 5 million. 20 million I'll take for him now. Just get him out the door. Other players that can go, Sanchez, not good enough. I still don't think Dyer's good enough, but people are starting to say he's doing good. I don't understand about that. Doherty, why is he still in this club? He needs to go. Even for me, Royal's good at going forward, but as a defender, no. Galini, just as a really tall keeper, just seems to watch shots go past him. He doesn't really move for him.
He's got shares in ready mix, hasn't he?
There's players obviously there as well, like in Winks and Lo Celso.
He's got shares in ready mix, by the way.
Has he? Winks can go. Celso can
Did that go straight over your head, Alan? Ready mix cement?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It does.
Sorry.
I'm cooking here. Let me tell you about players that are rubbish. So Lo Celso, Winks can go, Bergwijn can go, there's just so many players at this club that need to go, and it's something. And the thing I'm hoping now, we've got Conte in, who knows who he wants. Paratici works with him as well and knows what he wants to do. I'm just hoping Daniel Levy. They just say to Daniel Levy, just step back. Let us get rid of the players we want to get rid of. None of this, because we could have got rid of Winks for 25 million. None of this 40 million rubbish that you're trying to do. Just let us get rid of the players we can, take whatever we can from him and rebuild. If we've got the money there and he's promised the money, then extra money coming from these sales of the players will just go towards that kitty to help pay for new players. But we've got to stop keeping players because Daniel Levy wants to get an extra 5 mil out of them. It's ridiculous. That's the thing that's holding us back because we've got so much dead wood in that team that should have gone a season or 2 seasons ago that is still there. And it's just, I don't understand the idea of keeping players that aren't good enough at this club. It really winds me up, and it's just a continual thread throughout this. Levy running this club. It's just a continual thing. Hold on to players for too long until we can't get rid of them or we take a loss.
Yeah, I mean, Jacob, I'm going to ask you about one player now. You saw him at the end of the Leeds game, unused substitute, Stephen Bergwijn. Didn't even travel for the game yesterday. Do you see him being one of the first start?
Yeah, it's just like he's one of many that I've just like. It's got to the point where, as a Spurs fan, I've just had enough. It's like, he's had a couple of good games. Notably his debut, but he's just like he's just one of these modern players, isn't he? It's just like, don't get twisted. You can do what you want with your money, but it's like he's more concerned with like posting on Instagram about his drip. Like you're getting paid like 80 grand a week or whatever, it's 100 grand a week. Like you're gonna have nice clothes, bro. Like just on your Instagram, just focus on your football because he comes across like he'll have a good game, he'll have a crap game for Tottenham, a crap game for the Netherlands, but then he'd be the first people to post up on Instagram to say like, "Oh, I've got a nice jacket." It's like your priorities ain't there. It's the same with a lot of the players that we've got. You've got Dele Alli, people like that. Like he came on for about 8 minutes against Leeds, and he puts the picture up on his social media to say like, "Oh, good 3 points." It was all about telling Spurs fans that you got pink hair. It wasn't about your performance because you didn't do anything, and you can't have been happy coming on for 8 minutes. And if you were happy for coming on for 8 minutes, then there's even more of a problem because only 3-4 years ago we were talking about you being the next best thing. So generally, it's just a mess, isn't it? It's just
when
like
you think about it, Jacob, with Dele Alli, obviously 3-4 years ago he was being compared to the new Steven Gerrard, the new Frank Lampard, with his goals and his attacking as soon as the ball's in the box. I mean, is this the biggest decline in a player you've seen at our club?
Yeah,
I think what it is that Dele Alli dropped into a period of football where they're comparing him to Gerrard and Lampard because of the amount of goals he scored when he was 19, then 20, then 21. But I always used to look at that and think, it don't really matter though. I know you're scoring all those goals, but Gerrard, Lampard, and Scholes, for instance, who would score more goals than that, weren't shadow strikers. They were in central midfield in a 2, scoring nearly as many goals as you, but you're playing behind arguably one of England's best ever strikers, getting that amount of goals. So you shouldn't be compared to Steven Gerrard or Lampard. You should be compared to what this generation is doing because, when Gerrard and Lampard were playing, you didn't really have number 10s doing what Dele Alli was doing, really. You had Lampard doing what Dele Alli was doing in a midfield 3. He wasn't a number 10. He's scoring more goals than Dele Alli without being in the position in the first place.
Yeah, it was box to box when he Lampard.
Yeah,
box to box.
there you go. You summed it up for me perfectly. It's just like Gerrard would be on one end of the box, and then the way the football was, Gerrard would go and bang a goal. So would Lampard, so would Scholes. Whereas Dele Alli was getting most of his goals running in beyond Harry Kane. So I never used to get that comparison. It was just because everybody was English. But you did worry about him peaking too early. That's what happens with a lot of youngsters. You look at Dele Alli, you look at James Maddison right now. You know what I mean? They're destined to be the next best thing, and then we're not even talking about him now. So
yeah, I mean, before I go to Mark, obviously we've got everyone who's watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, share the video. I know we've got a certain legend in the comments in Latimer's Prime watching on Facebook tonight. Thank you, Prime.
That's how you put that comment up.
I know. He must feel sorry for us if he's been nice like that, to be honest. We've got Simon, Premier Hotspur TV. Hopes that we've all got over that shit show last night.
No.
You know what the worst thing is, Mark? I think, as Simon called it, the best words for it, the shit show. Are we a bit used to it now? Are we a bit expectant for Spurs to do this to us fans at the minute?
No, because I'm so positive. I'll be honest. I'm the last one that, you know, even the team we put out, we could have put out the under-23s. I would have thought we would have rolled them over. And I don't mean to be rude and disrespectful to them. The same against when Mourinho lost to that fella that was in jail. Who did we play that we lost to? What was that?
Zagreb.
Oh. Yeah, Zagreb. So, you know, I couldn't be negative against, you know, when during the week I was looking forward to the game. You know, I even got home early yesterday from work because I thought, you know, this will be a nice kind of run out for some of the lads, and you know, the guys that are on the fringe. This is an opportunity now to show Conte. He's been with them for 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, the ones that haven't gone to internationals, and they'll be really up for it. You know, talking about Delhi, I don't know. For me, the way I'm working it out now is when Delhi got there, he was an enigma. Nobody knew his game. They didn't know where his best. Nobody. So that's why he was so damn good, because he came out of nowhere from the minnows. Nobody knew what he could do and all that, and he took the Premier League by storm for 2 years, and then all of a sudden they've worked the kid out. So now defenders now know what he does. They know his tricks. They know what he likes to do. Now he's nothing. He hasn't bothered to go learn new things and things like that, you know, whereas, and not this season, but you look at Harry Kane. When Harry Kane burst onto the scene, you would have thought defenders would have worked him out. So they started working on different things. So he had to come up with new tricks. And every season he came up with new things, the way he played. And that's why he scores 23, 24, 26, 28 goals. But Dele Alli, I think the first 2 seasons, they didn't really know him. They didn't suss him out. Now everybody knows how he plays because he's a one-dimensional footballer. He can't play there. He can't play there. That's his best position. That's what he does. He runs in behind, and they know what he does. So they've worked him out. So, you know, he's not an enigma anymore. So, yeah, I don't know. I was really positive about last night. And then after that, I'm still mulling over my prediction for Burnley. You know, when you ask me at the end of the session what I'm going to do, because I'm in a quandary. You know, I don't know whether to be positive or, you know, I've just brought up the Burnley team news just to see who's playing and who's not playing, because that's going to, you know, affect my decision. So yeah, positive. Yeah, I'm not like I was last week, to be fair.
I'm going to disagree with you slightly there, Mark. The reason why...
No.
Listen.
Hold on.
Wait for me to explain the reason why. Wait for me to explain the reason why, and then I think you'll understand what I'm saying. So I don't think they've worked Dele Alli out in the fact that he's crap. I think that he's been worked out. It's that he's not playing in that position anymore. So under Poch, when he burst onto the scene, he was in that number 10 role, and all he was doing was running behind Kane. Then towards Pochettino, at the end of Pochettino's reign, he was dropped more into an 8 role, and he weren't being able to make that run beyond. So he hasn't got the ability, I don't think, to command a game in the 8 role. That's where he's best. So he's not been found out in the role that he's good at because he's not played there anymore, and he's been dropped further and further back. So we haven't got a system for him anymore. So that's why I believe he should go. Plus, he doesn't give any. He's worried more about himself off the pitch and his image and stuff like that. But it's because he's not in that role. We can't fit him into that role anymore. That's why he should go, because he doesn't bring much when he's dropped further back in midfield. That's what I disagree with you about. So that was it. Weren't I was saying that your opinion wasn't valid or anything like that. So it's all right.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a comment here from Simon. Obviously, he's saying we should be positive playing these farmers. This team should be steamrolling these teams, but it just goes to show these players are not good enough against this team, and that's a worry. So, Alan, obviously, we had starters in that side last night, the Sessegnons, the Sanchez's, the Ndombeles, the Delis, to try and prove. Obviously, you've got a new manager in. We're coming up to the busiest period in the season. the Christmas period. You would think that they've all got something to show. You know what? Whenever you need me, you can call on me. I can come in this team. I can do something. But I mean, Sessegnon last night was that someone who was trying too hard to impress in his first game for him?
It came across as that he was just way too eager and, being a bit young and naive as well. Don't you compare me to Lascelles? So how dare you? What an insult. You absolute insulting woman. No, it's fine. Yeah, so Sessegnon, I think, tried too much. He was too eager and, got himself on that. But he's been in football long enough. Although he's only young, he's played Fulham, stuff like that. He knows stuff like that's going to get you booked. So he's got to, accept, he did wrong as well. And then you've got, Bello's got all the ability in the world, but the lackluster effort he puts in sometimes, it's just like, do we really need him? I don't even think even Conte can get a full 90 minutes out of him pushing and pressing like he does. So, maybe it's time to move him on as well. I've had enough of players at Spurs. I want Spurs to win. I want Spurs to win trophies. And I've had enough players being here who aren't good enough and don't put in the effort. He's got all the ability, but he's lacking mentality as well. I would say the players last night get their first chance in the game for Conte to show what they can do and be involved in his team and play for a winning manager. A manager wins trophies. And I don't think any of them put in a performance like, I'm ready. I want to be in that first team. It's just like they were going through the motions, and that's a very worrying sign. And that's why I think Conte led to his thing about saying about the squad needs to be improved, because maybe you got a good start in 11. After that, you've not got much else. And I like the way also Conte went on to say about he's, Daniel Levy wants to, Daniel Levy wants to be successful on the pitch. He does off and all that. He knows what I want to be on the pitch. And I think, reading between the lines, I think he's pretty much saying, like, putting it out there for people that it's Daniel Levy's time to put up or shut up. So hopefully in January, there's big money spent on big name players, not people we have to Google. But it needs to be done, because at the moment, after our first 11, 12 or 13 players, there's nothing there.
Well, before I go to Jacob on this, Jacob, are you trying to talk, mate? Because you're muted.
Yo.
Yeah, so what I was going to say is that what Alan said is true, but it's like, don't you boys feel that we've gone through this already with Poch? Because Poch was doing the same thing, making it quite clear that we need money, we need investment. There's players that, need contracts. There's players that are not going to evolve with me in the next level. And then all of a sudden, Poch was right. And then because it was going wrong for him, he lost his job. So it's like with Conte,
I know, but I think this time Daniel Levy's backed himself into a corner with the poor appointment of Nuno, and to get Conte to react because of obviously what was the booing of Nuno and they were chanting for getting Daniel Levy out. He's basically reacted, so he's put himself into a corner here. Either he does spend in January and proves everyone wrong, or he just or basically the Spurs fan base will realise once and for all, even those that are still backing him or Renick, that they're more worried about profits off the pitch than trophies on the pitch.
The thing is, though, it's just like, when we say, I agree with you, Alan. It's just, but the problem is that, when we say, like, I hope Daniel Levy proves everyone wrong. The problem with Daniel Levy, he doesn't care about everyone.
Yeah. No, I'm aware of that. Like,
if everyone thinks he's a prick, he don't care, because he's a prick with like 3 million more in his account. So that's where I get worried. It's like, if Conte has said, I need 100 million, let's say, at the beginning of the contract, and then we're seeing this dross, and he's saying, actually, I need to double that. Daniel Levy might go, well, you said 100, but it's clear that it needs more than 100 mil. Like, for me, it needs about 200 mil, and then we generate another 100 million from about 10 players that shouldn't be at Tottenham.
I think a little less than 10. I don't think 10 players are worth 10 million each, but I know what you mean. You draw a lot of...
If you ask me to name 10, I'll probably get them.
Well, I will save that, gentlemen, don't worry, because I'm going to go to Mark on this. But before I do that, obviously we've got a couple of comments from the panelist. That is Kirsten. She says she can't see Conte getting backed in January. She has a huge concern for Conte's position, given our track record. I hope we see him out to at least as someone he knows we need help. And also, she's also said that Paratici is under investigation for false accounting along with his former colleagues at Juventus. So I'll rather him start that investigation in February, let him do his job in January, then look at him in February. But Mark, you mentioned it just as we started the show about the comments Conte's been making. Obviously, I think one I saw today was that Daniel Levy's made the club off the pitch, done brilliant, but now Conte's there, he wants the same ambition that Levy's shown off the pitch should now be put on the pitch. Do you see it working for Conte that hasn't worked for the Pochers, the Mourinho's, managers like that?
Yeah, listen. I think we all got to understand he wouldn't have come without certain assurances. I think there's something, a man of his ilk's not going to just come and turn up. So I think I don't think we're going to get 6 or 7 signings in January. I really don't. I think we'll get maximum 3, and we might ship out a couple, maybe 2 or 3. And then we'll go again in the summer. So if anybody's sitting out there thinking, oh, we're going to have a total overhaul in January, I don't think even the best sides have ever had that. So I'm not that naive and stupid to think that. I think we might get 2 fantastic players and maybe somebody else, like a team squad player, and then get rid of 3 players. But yeah, I think he summed it up. That was one of his comments, but I think he summed it up in another one, like similar to what Poch said about building a new house. You can build a new house, but then you kind of need new furniture for the house as well. He turned around and he said, you can run a car, you can maintain a car, you can fix a car and everything. You can put all different things on a car, but it's still like a Ford. You're not going to go up against a Ferrari kind of thing. And so he was trying to say you can work these players as hard as you want. You can train them, you can make them fitter and fitter, but some of them just aren't going to get any better and they don't have the ability. And I think that's what he was trying to say. So even he's not a magician, so he can make them fitter. He can make them play a little bit better, but he's not going to be able to turn them into the next Messis and all that. Everybody's hoping that we turn all our players into, the next Victor Moses from Chelsea. He was crap and, he went on this run and Chelsea won, the league. And I don't think he's going to go do that. So, yeah, I think a lot of his words, if you read between the lines, I think he's starting to put it out there because I think he won't be scared just to say, do you know what, stick it, I'm going. Because there are clubs out there. I wonder if he's sitting there now looking, going, God, I was 2 weeks too soon. I could have had the Man United job.
I don't think anyone wants that. I think they're just as in a worse position as we are at the minute. But we've got Simon, obviously, in the comments. Says most of this team's been here for far too long. Just bang average footballers who need to be moved on. This squad needs at least 300 to 400 million spent on, but he's confident Conte will be backed. I mean, Alan, you are one of the main, I won't even say Levy haters, because what you say is right. You're not just hating on him for no reason. You're actually saying the right things about the way he runs this club. But the comments from Conte, do you see him being backed with this tactic he's got of he's not directly calling the board out, but he is sending a message in some way. Do you think he'll be backed, or do you think they'll just carry on as normal?
Well, I would say he has to be backed, and if he doesn't get backed, then I think it's the final nail in the coffin for, like I said, there are some fans out there who still think Daniel Levy's done a good job for us, or give him time, give Enoch time. And I think that'll be the final nail in the coffin because you've got a world-class manager who wins things, the peak of his powers at our club. The first time in my lifetime where we've had a manager of that ilk, in his prime at our club. Mourinho did come several seasons too late, but we've got Conte there now. So knowing full well what he comes with, you have to back him. And Daniel Levy, like I said, has put himself into a position now where he either puts up or shuts up. You can do good business off the pitch, but one trophy in 20 years of his leadership under his, guidance, one trophy is not good enough. So he has to now start delivering on the pitch. And I think Conte, the way he's wording things is fantastic, because it basically is, basically pointing the fingers at Daniel Levy in a way that it's not like coming across as like, aggressive or abusive, or like it can be, disruptive and stuff like that. So I think it's good. But the thing that I don't like about Daniel Levy is that, he's too worried about things off the pitch. And out of all the people he's got rid of, all the managers he's got rid of and stuff like that, if he was reviewing his own performance of Spurs, over 20 years, he would have sacked himself. He would have sacked himself 10, 12, 15 years ago. So why is he the person who's still there? And it really frustrates me that you've had people there who have come close to winning stuff, who needed a bit of help, like Poch, got nothing. And then, making silly decisions. Yeah, I wanted Mourinho in, and he was one game away from winning a trophy, so he got rid of him at the wrong time. But then Mourinho didn't help himself by losing games to like Zagreb, and people say it was the players, but the manager puts the team out and coaches from the sideline, so it's all of them. So, but he's made really bad decisions on the pitch, leaving for managers we've had, bringing in the wrong managers, always looking for the cheap option. So I'm just hoping that the people we've got in place now, like Paratici working with Conte, I think he's finally given up and been like, okay, let's compete on the pitch. If he doesn't do it, then, I hope, like we had a few people shouting about get Daniel Levy out of the club at the Man United game. I hope if he doesn't back Conte and Conte walks, or Conte leaves at the end of the season because he's not back, I hope those chants get louder and louder and louder, and there's more protests.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, before I go to you, Jacob, obviously, thank you to everyone who's watching again tonight. Don't forget to like the video, share the video on Facebook, Twitch, the YouTube channel, put it all over your Twitter. If you want to see Mark every Friday, which I'm sure you do, everyone wants to see Mark on a Friday, of course. Like I say, we have learned that we've kept Mark away from Sky Sports and TalkSport and BT Sport and everywhere like that, so we are very gracious to be here. But Jacob, Alan obviously talks about Harry Kane a lot, which he should, because he's a world-class player playing at a below average performance at the minute, and he did get a goal last night. But is that a sign of our club at the minute that we're using Harry Kane in a game like that, when he should be at home resting for the weekend game? We shouldn't need Harry Kane to play that game. We shouldn't need him to score in that game. He should be at home waiting for the weekend. But again, the board didn't get a backup striker in the summer.
Yeah, literally. Yes, like yesterday just summed everything up, man. It's just like, we went down to 10 men. Harry Kane scores that goal, and it was a good finish for him. So normally I'd celebrate and go, what a finish, and I'd be jumping around and winding someone up about the finish. But as soon as he put that goal in, the first thing I did was laugh. So I was just like, as if we need Harry Kane to do that against a team that was created 9 years ago. Do you know what I mean? There's teams that I've played for, 11 aside, that have been around longer than this team that we lost to. Do you know what I mean? It's just, it's everything. There's so much you can go on about. We could probably sit here for about 3-4 days going on about what's going on with Tottenham. It's like, you look at the squad's terrible. When you look at the squad, you realise that Daniel Levy probably bought half those players. But then not only did Daniel Levy buy half those players, he brought in 3 managers that, realistically, they're all pragmatic. So we brought in 3 managers that are pragmatic after a manager that was the complete opposite. And then that manager got the best out of all those players. So I'm not making excuses for Dele Alli, Harry Kane, Son and all these guys. But the reason why they were at their peak is because we had a manager that was on the front foot and wanted to compete with everybody. And we then bring in 3 managers that wants to compete with everybody, but do the complete opposite. So Daniel Levy literally ripped up the project that was working so well and then just went completely opposite for no reason. And like I alluded to last week, because you've got no plan. So when you ain't got a plan, the managers don't know what's going on, the players don't know what's going on, the fans don't know what's going on, but then you wonder why there's a disaster, because nobody knows what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Alan, you got something to say on that?
Yeah, that's just, obviously at the moment you've got players there from 3 different managers. Poch, what's left over from Poch, Mourinho and Nuno. And now Conte's come into that in a short period of time and been like, okay, I've got all these players from 3. there's not an identity within that Spurs team, and Conte's trying to get them to play under the way he plays, and it's just a bit of a mess at times. So it's people who thought Conte coming in is going to be a very quick fix were a bit naive. It's still going to take some time, but hopefully, get January, like Mark said, it's only going to be 2 or 3 players, but I think they need to bring quality in, like named players, not people that, you know, who may come good, people that, you know, to the top of, you know, in considered world class or close to world class, and then go again in the summer and buy another 2 or 3 players of that quality, and then maybe next season. But it's just seeing where we can get this season at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, Mark,
I'll ask you guys a question.
Oh,
I'll ask you guys a question.
He's coming for your job, right? He's coming for your job.
I've got the shirt on. It's my show. Shit.
New host of Grounded Spurs. There we go.
Yes. Can you get the intro on, Ryan?
You'll be removed from the stream in a minute.
Say, right? Like, you know, Mark said something, right? And he added value to it. And he was like, you know, realistically, when it gets to January, the likelihood is you probably need 6 players, right? But in 6 players, you're not going to get, because it doesn't make sense, because we tried that before with the bail money. It didn't work. So realistically, we're probably going to go and bring in 3 players. But we all know that 3 players isn't enough to sort this team out, no matter who they are. So you probably need 2 windows, and each window getting 3 players. But then if you need 2 windows, Conte's on an 18-month deal. So how does that work out? Because if we need 2 windows and Conte gets to that second window and it's not working, he can walk quite easily.
Yeah, but that's that second window is going to be. I
generally don't believe it. Go on.
Yeah, that second window is going to be the summer, so that will be for the start of the season. So the only players they're going to get in January and now are players that Conte want. If we can't get hold of them, then it will see, like, you know, I don't think we'll buy just for buying's sake. It'll be players that Conte wants, you know, so that I think that will be the thing. So the start of next season, if we do get, like, say we get 3 and 3 before the start of the season with a you know, full pre-season, you've got 5 to 6 players, let's say, of people that he wants. Yes. So that will be a good start to next season. So then he's got the players also he wants from whoever's left over, and that's going to be a good start. You know, it will probably. He's got the choice to extend for a year. So depending on if this January and the summer goes well, you could see a really good start to the season. It just depends on tweaking here or there, and then he may want to stay for next year. I think the 18-month was put in place purely for the fact that, you know, it tends to either Conte, you know, doesn't like what's happening and leaves and stuff like that. He's always had that thing, and Daniel Levy obviously is really poor with managing, looking after managers as well, and not really giving them what they want. So I think the option to extend for a year is if everything's going swimmingly. So we'll have to wait and see. But I think by the summer transfer window, I think we'll have a good understanding on if Conte is being backed and where we stand in fixing this team. But I think the 6 players we need are 4 or 5 to start, and probably 1 as an extra, like, who will be pushing somebody. But you know, then that just means whoever's going to take their place now will be pushed down to the squad, like, for the rest of the thing, and then hopefully we can get some of the crap out of the door.
No, the thing is, you're right as well. And you're hoping as well, but even with those signings, you get sort of 2, 3, 4 players that we've got right now that improve under his stewardship. So if you get that plus 5, 6 signings, then you're in a better place than you are now anyway, ain't you?
Yeah.
Before we go to the Burnley predictions and how you guys feel the game's going to go, Mark, I'm going to ask you one more. Obviously, I read again today that Conte has already gone to the board with his personal statement on which players that he wants to keep and what players he wants the club to get rid of. So do you think it's just as important how the club operates selling these players as it is the players he brings in?
Oh, absolutely. I think Alan alluded to it earlier. You know, we all know what Levy's like. You know, he's going to want 40, 50 million for Dele Alli. You know, the guy's got no chance. You know, I'll be honest, I'll take 10 million for it, Dele Alli. Just go. I'll take 4 million for Harry Winks. You know, it's for me. It's not about if you can make a little bit of money, make a little bit of money. But for me, it's about them getting off our wages. You know, take them off our wages, and then bringing people in. So Yeah, I think getting rid of people is just as important as bringing in. You know, I'm not too bothered about spending the 150 million, 200 million on bringing great players in. It's the people that are on our books at the moment that's costing us. Like, you look at Tanguy. I'll take 25 million for him if somebody offered. He's costing us 200 grand. What's that? 10 and a half, 12 million pound each season. So to get him off our books is going to be amazing. So yeah, I think you're right. I think Conte's already, him and Paratici have already alluded to it. So I think if in the first, I personally think you'll see in the first week of January, 2 or 3 people gone and 2 or 3 people in, because it's pointless us getting these 3 people in on the 31st of January. If we're going to get somebody, we need to get them in that first week. So the deals are being done now. This is where they're all going to kind of get kind of pre-agreements or behind the scenes where people say, well, you can't do that, but well, we know what football's like. So things like that. So yeah, we need to in the first week of January get that in, because we've got 7 games in January, I think.
Yeah.
So we want them in. We want to hit the ground running, don't we? Bringing them in on the 31st of January doesn't help. So, but yeah, getting rid of people. And I think Conte's, what did he say today? He said, I'm seeing with my own eyes now. I'm evaluating every single player now myself. I'm not listening to people, because you got the TVs, you got the pundits, you got everybody, but now I'm evaluating. And he said that today. And that's pretty cool, because those players would have heard that, So I think players already know at the club that they've got no future. I think they know. And looking at last night, the way they were playing, I think it's all those players that played last night.
Yeah, I mean, Alan, before I get all of your predictions, obviously I'm going to ask you quickly about the Burnley game. I think I've read this week that they are without Tarkowski and Westwood. I think they're 2 players that are out for Burnley. Yeah. Mark can confirm that after reading up. Is that true? Is that right, Mark?
Yeah, there is. That's correct. I think Jay Rodriguez could be available. And what's the other one?
Ashley Barnes.
No, Ashley Barnes is out.
Oh, he's out.
Chris Wood.
Yeah, Westwood, Barnes. Wood's in. Vedra, I think. Is it Vedra?
Yeah.
He's so yeah. Tchaikovsky, Westwood, and Barnes are out. So that makes me happy, because Barnes is one of our bogey people, but then they've got to deal with Wood and his elbows, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, how do you go into this game? Because how many of these players from Thursday do you see starting? Obviously, you've got Kane; he's a definite. But I really hope
Is he?
He's not. He shouldn't be. 100% he shouldn't be. But we didn't get a backup in the summer again, so he's getting glad to be. Unfortunately for us, unless we get someone in January, Harry Kane will start every week. It's just bad management from the top again. But do you see even the players who didn't play? Now Conte's turned around today and said that he's evaluating with his own eyes. He knows who he wants and who he doesn't want. Do you think this will give the players a kick up the arse, or do you think it will bring them into the shell a bit and think, oh shit, I don't want to get note wrong. I don't want to put a pass wrong, so I'll go back to my centre back for this pass. I don't want to. Obviously, it's all stats in football now. I don't know why, but it is all pass completion and all that. How do you see these players bouncing back?
I mean, most of the people that played Thursday aren't going to be. Well, they came on, but it was like a really poor game, and we were down to 10 men. I know we were saying we still got the quality, but one less man. I played like Saturday Sunday League, and even when at that level, one less person, you're doing a lot more running on the pitch. It's just the way football is. But most of them won't start on Sunday, and I think the people that will start on Sunday will, just be as positive they were in the second half of Leeds. I don't think it would affect them as much. I don't think we're going to see much of Harry Kane, because he's just not performed in the league. My problem area against Sunday with Burnley is that you've got a very physical team who are going to lump balls up, and our centre defenders need to be able to deal with it. You've got Dyer and Sanchez, who for sort of big guys tend to get bullied in the air quite an awful lot. So that's an area of concern for me. Also, an area of concern, I still say that we should be playing a 3-5-2 rather than a 3-4-3, because against Leeds, we got outrun in the middle, we got overrun. And I just think Højbjerg and Skip, if that's who he's going with, are just going to be left isolated again, because you've got 3 people up front, like Son and Moore, staying on the wings and not closing off the middle of the park. And we're just getting out overrun there. Against bigger teams, we're going to get absolutely torn apart. But I think 3-5-2 is the way to go. Put an extra person in the middle, because Burnley will be physical in the middle of the park as well. So there's a couple of problem areas that Burnley, people who might think it's Burnley we're going to win. Burnley have got better results recently, so it's going to be a tough game. There's no easy games in the league, but I'm just hoping the extra quality we've got will tell, and that will lead us to a win.
Yeah, fingers crossed. But Jacob, are you the same as Alan? Do you want to see a bit more strength in the middle of that park with Højbjerg and Skip?
Yeah, I agree with Alan. Is in what I want to see, but I just don't have any confidence that no matter what Conte says in training, these players are going to implement it. It's like we're on our 4th manager now with these same type of players, and none of them have convinced me that it was the boss's fault. It might be because of then, we've had a couple of negative bosses, but it's like sometimes you just got to dig in. So in my mind, it's like, I'm going into games now, and it's just like, it doesn't matter what Conte does. He puts the formation out. You know what you want to see. Again, what Alan alluded to in terms of digging in and dealing with Burnley's threats, but you just don't feel confident anyone's going to do it. And then, in defence, for instance, there's not one defender that I have confidence in to actually defend, apart from Romero, who's injured. So do you remember at the beginning of the season when Alan was saying, centre halves, imagine our best 2 were Dyer and Sanchez. Yeah, and we was all taking the piss out of Alan effectively, going, yeah, just chill out, we've kept clean sheets. But then you're looking at it now, if that's on the telly, I don't know, if the kids want to watch Peppa Pig, you can watch that if you want, man. Because, you're thinking to yourself, like, you're just going to, it's more stress than it's worth watching them 2 in defence.
I'd rather watch Peppa Pig as well.
I'd rather have Peppa Pig in defence. Do you know what I mean?
I'm psychic, Jacob. I foresaw this shambles coming with Dyer and Sanchez. I foresaw it.
Yeah, well, Mark, I can't see Sanchez starting at the weekend. I can see Tanganga, Dyer, and Davis, but do you not worry about that? Like you say, you've already spoken about Chris Wood and his tactics, his elbows, his barging. They could target a Ben Davis who's not a player who's going to beat you in the air. He's not that type of player. Do you not worry about that with Romero out?
No, because I think Chris Wood's on the wrong side for Davis. So I think it's going to be more. I think he'll start Tanganga. If I'm honest, I don't think he'll start Sanchez. I think Sanchez had a shocker last night, so I just don't see him starting. Listen. I think Tanganga's young. I think if he has a game like he played against Liverpool when he came on or when he started, I think Tanganga's got it in him and he's young. So I think nobody played great the first half against Leeds. So I was also quite surprised why they took him off. Because they could have taken one of 11 players off on Sunday against Leeds. It wasn't just him. But yeah, I like Tanganga. I've always liked Tanganga. He likes the center partnership. Tanganga does. He prefers center rather than right back or right wing back. No, I don't think Tanganga's feared. I think Tanganga will be up for that. I'd rather Tanganga there than Sanchez. Because I think the guy will knock 7 colours of crap out of Sanchez. Whereas I don't think Tanganga, the only thing for me, Tanganga, maybe he winds him up. And that's where he's maybe immaturity, like you saw against Crystal Palace, where he's still young and he's learning the game. But no, look, Davis scares me, until we get a left-footed defender besides Regulon going up there. I think he starts, doesn't he, in a three what's name? Because I don't think he trusts Roden yet, and I don't think. I'm looking at last night. he wasn't awful. He wasn't our worst player, but he didn't pull up any trees, did he? Rodon last night. So yeah, I can't see him. I think what's Davies? He's dependable. He's a 5, 6, or a 7, isn't he? That's what he gives you every game, a 5, 6, or a 7. So he's middle of the road. He's safe. But yeah, I think Tanganga. So I'm quite comfortable with Tanganga. But I would actually like to see him, and I know this is maybe going to spark, but I'd actually like to see him drop Kane. Drop Kane.
Yeah, we all would.
Even if it's just the first half. Even if it's the first half, start Sonny up top. Play Reguilon as the wing back. Maybe give Sessegnon something on the left. And have Sonny in the middle there. I don't know. Højbjerg, Skippy. I don't want to say Lascelles. I want to go and say play Kane just behind Sonny. Not Kane, Dele Alli just behind Sonny. Give him, like Alan says, put him in his proper position. Let him see what he can do. If this kid, if that's where he shines, then put him there. Because I'll be honest with you, Burnley won't be expecting. Can you imagine? We start the an hour before the thing, and the team news comes out, and Van Dijk goes, "No Kane, Jesus, what's going on? I need to change my formation." So I think that will shock everybody. So I'd like to see it, and if anybody's going to do it, I think Conte has got the cojones to do it. And would it put Harry Kane's nose out of joint?
Doesn't matter. Team comes first.
I don't think he'll get dropped, though.
I agree.
He won't get dropped, though. He won't get dropped, man. You got to think, man. We had a crap game on Thursday, but he scored. So there's no way he's going to get dropped.
Yeah, but he scored one goal, but the rest was crap.
Yeah, no, I do agree with you. I'd rather see that. I'd like to see something that gets me looking at the lineup an hour before and thinking, yes, sweet. At least Conte's tried to mix it up and get people thinking. But I think
the problem
if
is if you drop him, if you drop him and we get thrashed, if we drop him and we get thrashed, then Conte will look like a total idiot, won't he?
Not to us, he wouldn't. I don't think he would.
No, listen, I think you'll have half the fan group will be going, why did you drop him? He's world class. Because we all searching.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. You will get fans.
He's not world class at the moment.
Oh, not at the moment. No. But he's world class. People. I read a comment the other day. Somebody said Harry Kane, he scored 7 goals. Oh, but it's only against San Marino. Did Wayne Rooney not score against San Marino?
I think they were Alan's comments, to be honest.
He's 53 goals. Didn't he score against any of the minnows? Wayne Rooney.
Yeah, Wayne Rooney did you? What would you mean on my comments?
No, I do agree with Alan on that. Harry Kane could score against Brazil or San Marino. I couldn't give two shits.
I want it done for Spurs. That's what I meant. I want it done for Spurs.
I can give two shits.
Guys, he scored 200 and something goals for Spurs. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but at the moment this season, he scored one.
It's 10 games. Let's not get past it, but he scored 200 and something games. You got short memories.
No, that's great. I applaud that. But
look at the past.
It's this season. Yeah, we live in the past.
Come on.
What has Kane done for me this season? Fuck all. It's as simple as that. In the league, he's done nothing. 1 goal against Newcastle.
Mark, you've just asked him to be dropped. You yourself have just said that.
I think it would. I think it would be great. But listen, I don't have a short memory. The last 6 years, he scored 200 and something goals.
None of us have got a short memory.
Everybody knows how good he is. Yeah. We all know. But on his day, he's the best striker. On his day, he's the best.
He's 1 goal or 1 hat trick. He's 1 goal or 1 hat trick away from starting.
Yeah, but we said that against Newcastle. We said that against Newcastle, and it's still not.
I don't care whether it's a Spurs player or any other player for that. I don't have previous seasons make excuses for this season. And this season, so you scored about 200 goals for Spurs. Brilliant. I commend you for that. What great player for us over the last 6-7 seasons. Can't not knock him for that. But this season, He's done nothing in the league, so that doesn't give him a buy for this awful performance.
No, absolutely. But I'll be honest. I would say 99% of our team haven't done anything either. So,
Oh God, yeah.
you know.
You are fine, man. I think the biggest thing with Kane is in the summer, all of us on this the four of us on this panel, and 95% of Tottenham fans were saying like, let him go. He deserves to go. He's been wonderful for us, but he's struggled to get over the fact that I ain't got my move to Man City, so what's the point? I mean, he's still got 60,000 Tottenham fans every home game there to see Kane. Majority of fans are there to see Kane because he's like, obviously, Mark, we all know he is on his days. He is the best striker in the world. I'll argue with anybody about that. On his day, he's the best striker in world football. But for some reason, this season, he's just not. He just doesn't.
I absolutely agree, and there's the worry for me that we are so reliant on one or two players. So, like, if Sonny or Kane don't score or don't do the business, we are awful. Now, you take our friends just down the west, Chelsea. They haven't had their amazing goal scorer Lukaku playing for them for what, 2-3 weeks? He's been out, and then you've got that other
and the rest.
German guy, what's his name?
Werner.
He's not been playing, but sure, they're still scoring 4 goals a game, aren't they, Chelsea? So somewhere along the line, they've got other players and not centre forwards that come along and bang them in. Spurs, we've got 2 of our greatest players that we call world class, and they're having a dip of form at the moment, but nobody else steps up. And so that's why we crap. And then we sit here and we go, oh, Harry Kane, I don't care if he scores for England. Any player goes through dips and troughs, and it's like cricket. It's like you go through ups and downs. He's gone through more ups because he scored 20-something goals a season for the last 6 seasons.
I understand about dips in form, but it's when it looks like he's down in tools because he wants to move out. That's where I draw the line. Don't care what you've done for my club. My club comes before any single player. Now
I get that.
Many people
but why does Sonny get
players rather than
why
teams.
does Sonny get a free pass?
No, he doesn't. I've
Well,
only
he's
getting
a free pass.
No, he hasn't.
Not on this show. Not on this show. He's not.
But at least there's been effort from Sonny. There's been nothing from Kane. There's been nothing from Kane.
There's been nothing from Sonny, to be fair.
There has been. There's been more from him than that. It's been a struggling team, but there's been more from Sonny than Kane.
Last night was awful from him.
Son's got 4 goals in the league and 1 assist. Harry Kane's got 1 goal.
I think the most embarrassing thing is that Reece James he's got the same amount of goals as, or even more than them 2 combined.
No, so
right back.
Reece, don't get me started. Oh, Reece James, I'd love him at Spurs. For me, the best overall right back in the league. He's got 4 goals and 4 assists in the league. So he's 1 short, I think, on goals than Son and Kane together. That's how bad they've been. But
that's how bad
at
they've
least
been,
At least Son has had games where he's put in effort and got man of the match performances. Kane's done nothing.
I do agree with Mark, and I've said this on the show tonight. Obviously, the awful performances of Son aren't mentioned enough.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's only because our main man, our number 10, who we have unfortunately had to rely on for 5 or 6 years now, is playing bad. He will as long as he plays for Tottenham, Harry Kane, he will always be the one picked at and picked on for his performances. But we could go into this all night, so I'm going to move on from this. We'll go straight to the prediction. If Kirsty's in the comments, give us your prediction. Before I go to Alan with his, Simon's given his prediction. It's going to be 1-1, but he wouldn't be surprised if Burnley snatch it because he doesn't trust the defence, which is that's just Tottenham fan to a T. No one trusts them. But Alan, going into Sunday's game after that shocking performance Thursday, what do you see the result being?
So I've given a prediction for this game already on another stream. So
on
the prediction show,
I'll watch that stream to see your prediction, shall I?
On the prediction show, how dare you, which I do every week, which you know about. So stop having diva moment. You need a Snickers. You're not yourself when you're hungry. So but this was before the Mura game, and I'm tempted to change
How many
it.
have you got right so far, by the way?
How many have I got right?
Yeah, in your prediction show.
I'm third in the table, and
How
that was
are
a
you?
week behind people, so I'm not doing
And
too
your
bad.
prediction show, is it just Tottenham or is it all the fixtures?
All Premier League, yeah, all Premier League. EGTV, there you go. There's a shout out there. There you go.
Oh, it's just look like these other. Wow, Ryan.
I know.
Mark, he goes on an Arsenal fans YouTube channel. This lad
It's a
does.
prediction show for the whole of the league.
Oh, grow up, Alan. I should make
You
a
grew
joke
up.
of that.
So, yeah, after the Mura game, I was tempted to change, but I'm going to stick with my guns and go with a 3-1 Spurs win. Burnley will cause us problems, but I think we'll have just enough, especially with the people that got injured. I think we'll have enough. But based on that performance against Mura, I might have changed it to a 1-1 draw, like the comment said there. But I'll stick with what I said previously and say 3-1 Spurs.
Fair enough. Right. Here's the Mystic Meg of the group. Jacob, talk to us, man. Alan, you've got no, Alan, just leave it out. Don't be pulling faces. Leave it out. Jacob, what's your prediction for this game?
It doesn't matter about Burnley's injuries. I just think that Burnley are going to be up for it. Turf Moor, it's probably going to be crap weather on the weekend because it's snowing across the country and all that. It's going to be windy, rainy, and I just don't think there's players in our team that are up for it. So, if I'm honest, I'm going to go the opposite of Alan, and we're going to lose 3-1 to Burnley because I just see that. You see, Burnley are the team that the Burnley of last season. But then they've got players like Maxwell Cornet that's making them believe that they can do a little bit better than what they normally do. So I can just see him running riot. Chris Wood, we ain't got any defenders that can handle him, and they've never handled him. You know, I remember there was a time where Harry Kane come back from injury, and we got run riot by him again. So I'm being honest with you. I think we're going to lose 3-1 to Burnley, and it's just going to be chaos.
Fair enough. Like I say, it's your prediction. I hope it doesn't come true. I hope that you drop down the leaderboard.
I'd love Alan to be so right. But
yeah,
I will be.
Kirst hasn't commented yet, so I don't know if she's still here, but I can get that through WhatsApp. But Mark, positive one, give us your prediction, please.
I'm like Alan. I think looking at last night's game, do you put enough on that game last night? And you just think it has to be a bit of a reaction. It doesn't matter whether you played in that game or not. After that, and after reading Twitter, I don't know if you saw Højbjerg. He's deactivated his Twitter account, hasn't he? I think there's going to be, we're going to bring in Loris will come in. I think Reguilon will come in. I think there's a couple of players that are going to come in. Skip, Højbjerg will play together. I think they will have to get up for this because, there's last chance. We talk about Levy having last chance saloons. I think even some of the players like Kane, is getting to parts where fans, this is last chance saloon. He's got to show some effort and all that. I'm going to go with Alan. I'm going to go for a 3-1 win. I had that all the way during the week, even before we played Mura. I am slightly worried about the weather, like Jacob says. The only saving grace is 2 o'clock, so it's not nighttime where it's minus 65,000 degrees. I do worry about the Brazilians and the Argentinians that are used to like 26-degree weather. But yeah, no, I'm going to go for a 3-1 because, God, there has to be a reaction. There has to be. They cannot come out like against Moore and think this is how you play football. So, yeah, I'm going for a win. I'm going for a 3-1 win.
I'm glad you're taking some positivity there, Mark. I'm glad.
The thing is, though, when you two do your positive ones, I guarantee you, within 10 minutes of the game watching it, my phone's going to be going...
That's
and it's
Mark.
going to be Mark going, I hate this team. I hate this team.
Absolutely.
Here is the positive one.
Absolutely.
Through WhatsApp, he's cursing the team and everything.
Absolutely.
We need to see the WhatsApp mark on this YouTube show. One we do.
No,
need
it's
to
a
see
life
the
of a
WhatsApp
Spurs
mark.
fan. We all do it. We all do it. So
I mean, my prediction is going to be a bit nuts. It's probably why I'm bottom of the table currently. But
You go for a 12-0 win or something.
no, close, not far. I am actually going after last night's game, and I watched everything back last night. I am going for a 5-1 Tottenham win on Sunday. Yes, Jacob, you will look into that camera and see it like that. I am going for a 5-1 Tottenham win. They are. I see it. I just see it as they're missing their best central defender. They are. Tarkovsky is their best defender. Yes, but we've got better. As shit as they're playing at the minute, we've got better options up front. I can see Son running riot. I just see. I think obviously they've got Maxwell Cornet, but we talk about the weather. He would have never have played in English weather. This in coming up to December, he's never played in weather like this. He could be another one of those where sleeves are past his hands and he's just moving around in circles to keep warm. He might not be interested at all. I can really this 5-1 win for me is a trust in our manager. He has absolutely battered them in training today, in whatever preparations they have for tomorrow. My entire trust right now is in Conte, and I do think maybe a couple of goals for Harry Kane. I think you'll get a definite penalty goal. We'll 100% get a penalty in that game because as clumsy as we are, they're just as clumsy. It's just going to be two games. It's just going to be two teams with awful defenders. The only reason I go 5-1 is because we've got the best attackers. Now, if it doesn't happen, I'll say I was joking and it was my daughter's prediction. But if it does come true,
your daughter's prediction.
Oh, I'll blame her, Alan.
That's disgusting.
But we have to see a reaction, don't we? You know, after last night, you know, even if you didn't play, you have to, you know, there's got to be some ounce of kind of passion and pride. You know, there has to be. You can't. You know,
the thing for me though is like Burnley don't really score many goals, but they scored 3 goals against Palace, who we all know have been playing better than us and defending better than us. So in my mind, I'm thinking if Burnley turn up like that again, they'll easily score 3 against Tottenham. So it's just, and then are we going to go and score 3 like Palace did when we still ain't had a shot on target really, apart from Leeds? Like I don't know, man, I'm just not confident whatsoever. But I hope sincerely that you boys, at least Alan and Mark, at least are right. And then if it goes beyond to Ryan being right, I'm happy to go bottom of the league. Don't care.
Yeah.
Oh, if I get this right, I'm doing this show next Friday on my own. I don't need you boys anymore. But yeah, Simon,
that'll be boring, won't it?
I have watched this, Simon. I have, but even 5 own goals, I do trust own goals over Harry Kane at the minute. But it could happen. But gentlemen, again, as always, Warriors on a Friday night, 25-12. Mark, you got work tomorrow?
No. I'm on holiday at the moment, so a bit of Christmas shopping and my daughter's birthday today, so it's a party tomorrow. So she turns 7 today, so yeah, so I got to go do some clip and climb and all that kind of stuff tomorrow. So yeah, that's fun.
Definitely, yes. It's my daughter's birthday as well. I've got a party tomorrow with all her nursery friends.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, I know. Yeah, Simon, without Son and Kane, I don't know where the goals are coming from. Yeah, we've said it. We have said that.
Thank God we've got Son. Thank God we've got Son and Kane then on Sunday, haven't we?
But then to be fair, we beat Leeds with our goals from Son and Kane, so it's doable. It is doable.
Yep. We could see a hat trick from Regulon against Burnley, a couple from Emerson.
Hoiberg, hat trick.
Yeah, I'll take goals from anywhere.
Anything can happen. Well, thank you again, gentlemen. I don't know whether to go to Alan tonight to say where we can find him because he's always all the shows that he's going on and the betrayal from Alan. So I don't know whether to.
It's not betrayal. It's just me being a bit of a dirty stop ass. What is it? Just trying all these different things.
Where can we find you, Alan?
Find me on Twitter. There's my handle. Is that no that way? Alan R.
Yeah.
Clark 3. You can find me on here every Friday night with the lads and Kirst when she's next back on, talking everything Tottenham. You can find me on Thursday nights on the girls' channel, the Premier League prediction show. That's at 7 o'clock every Thursday.
Sorry.
That's all right. Not every Monday. I think it's like one in every 3 or 4 weeks. On a Monday, I'll be doing the Comedy Spurs podcast as well. And then still waiting on the other Tottenham show on a Thursday. We'll have to wait and see on that. No, face pulling, Ryan. I see that face pulling you got there. I won't have none of that from you.
Hey, this is the best Tottenham show you could be on, Alan. Never mind any of it. Look underneath you. You've got Mark and Jacob. Who else could you possibly want to talk to about Tottenham?
I'll talk to anyone about Spurs. Get to moan about them then, don't I? Like a good moan.
You can. Jacob, where can we find you at?
Just on there at the minute, like I said, man, when I find the time and space, I'll get involved in my own stuff. But to be honest, I'm enjoying doing this with you guys because we all have Tottenham's interest at heart and we all have a good discussion about it. We all respect each other. So I'm happy to just do this. But again, you know, if I do branch out when I do get the time and space, then I will do it. So just look out for my name on Twitter.
Definitely. Mark, besides the mainstream of football, where else can we find you?
Bean Sport, no. The Keys and Grey show, I was invited, but I said no. Hawksby, Talk Sport, no. Nowhere. You can't. Just Twitter. And when your mate from Coys calls me and says, "Listen, I want you, Mark." So yeah, whoever wants me, whoever wants, you know, great Tottenham talk. I'm always available. But I love coming out on Friday. It's you know, the later it gets, the more tired I get and the more silly I get. So
this is what we want, Mark. This is why I should have done this so long ago. This is what we want from our panelists here on Grounded. I can't do it, Mark. I feel too dirty. Alan needs to be there next to me.
Yes.
But thank you all very much. Obviously, Kirst, I believe her handle is THFC Kirst.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, just to give Kirst a shout out, did you see some of her wonderful drawings?
No.
Have you seen some of her drawings? Oh my good God, she's such a great drawer. So Kirst, if you're looking at it, you know, big up to you, love. Wow, you know, some really, really lovely drawings. So some sketches. Have a look at it. You know, she's amazing. Really, really good.
Yeah, we'll have to take a look at that. We'll have to have it as our WhatsApp group picture.
Yeah.
As well. I've got two Jacobs at the bottom of my.
He was having problems with his phone and his thing earlier. So
yeah, we'll see if he comes back.
There he is.
Well, we should have given a prediction on Brentford as well, shouldn't we?
You know what, actually, Mark, you are.
We've got Brentford next Thursday, haven't we?
Yes, it is. That is next Thursday, Mark. I tell you what, Alan, your position is slipping very fast.
0 fucks given.
Put me up. Yeah, don't worry, Ryan. He goes to an Arsenal show, doesn't he?
Correct, Mark. Very correct.
Put me at the top.
Don't worry. After being on an Arsenal stream, I do feel dirty and I do scrub myself, you know, make sure I get myself clean. So it's fine.
Right. Before we go, we will get the quick Brentford prediction. So, Alan, Brentford?
It's at home, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
I think if it was away, I'd be a bit more fearful because they seem to play better. But as it's going to be at home, 2-0.
2-0, yeah. Jacob, what's your prediction for the Brentford game?
He's gone. He's not there.
Thanks, Jacob. Cheers, mate. Mark, what's your prediction, bud?
Yeah, we're at home. Yeah, I'd like to say we maybe keep a cleaner sheet at home. I'm going to go. What did you say, Alan?
I said 2-0.
Yeah, I want to say 2-0, but that would be two same results as you. So I'm going to go 3-0.
Oh, nice.
3-0, fair enough.
Yeah, 3-0.
3-0, 3-0 for Mark. So now we will try Jacob. Let's see if this connection is the main one for Jacob.
Yeah, he's muted though. So Jacob, if you can hear it, there we go.
I reckon this is the one, boys.
This is the one. An hour and a half in. This is the one. Jacob, I know how you feel. I had this a month ago where Mark continuously mocked me for not paying my bills. So, Jacob, what was your prediction for the Brentford game?
Me mock you?
What?
Oh, he's gone again.
What?
He's gone again. Oh, and he was so close to that vice captain as well. He's lost it now.
Wait me out when he's giving you his prediction.
He keeps coming back from all up.
Oh, where he is.
I just pressed the wrong button now. What an idiot! I don't know. I'm over the mayor, man.
Yeah.
Right.
So what did you boys guess?
3-0 and 2-0. Brentford.
Whew. You boys are on my wavelength now, aren't you?
Yeah, no. It's the game against Brentford. I went 2-0 Spurs. He went 3-0
It all
Spurs.
depends on the Burnley game. But if the Burnley game goes the way I think it's going to go, I see it being a 2-1 Brentford. I think it'll get to the point where, I don't know, somehow there'll be a reaction in that game. We'll concede the first goal, and then Brentford will just beat us, man. Like, I've got no confidence, man. I've got more.
You're such a negative
in,
Nancy
like,
recently,
me
aren't you?
being sober for the next 2 months.
What negative Nancy?
Wow.
Oh,
That's how it
God.
is.
I am going for quite another high-scoring game in this one against Brentford as well. I'm going to go 4-2 Tottenham in this one.
What have you been smoking?
You are a madman. No, wait, after what's happened with Spurs, you think we're going to score 9 goals in our next 2 games?
Hey, one of us has got to be positive. Mark's dropped a little bit in positivity.
Yeah, true.
I'm already bottom of the table. What's left?
Are we -6 goal difference?
Yeah, and after
In the next 2 games, we're going to score 9.
After these next 2 games, Mark, we'll be in the positive goal difference. That's how I'm looking at it.
That's brilliant.
I'm bottom of the table, boys. What's the worst that could happen?
Listen, and to be fair, if we win the next 2 games, I bet you we'll be like 1 or 2 points from 4th.
That's the mark I've been waiting for.
But
Now we're 36 minutes in. Where have you been? Where have you been, Mark?
Sleeping, pal. I've been on other shows.
Thank you all very much again. Like I say, my handle at RyanMadam1991. You find me every Monday on Coys.com podcast. We've just done one last Monday with myself, the big man Patrick, and the queen of Tottenham Twitter, Tanya, as I know her now. She's the queen of Tottenham Twitter.
I love her rants. They're brilliant.
God. She is phenomenal. I'm trying to get her on this show, but she's too far up in the game now. She's too hard to just bring down to our level now. It's not gonna. I'll keep trying until she gets a restraining order, but we will keep trying to get her on. So that's it, gentlemen. You can catch me again on Coys.com next Monday. Back here again with the best panel YouTube's got to offer on a Friday. And Alan, thank you all very much for coming on tonight. I'll speak to you all Sunday for the Burnley game, and I'll see you all next Friday, gents.
Take care, man. Take care.